We have a wonderful story of Jeremiah in the first reading, a prophet that complains and surrenders and then complains again and basically stays faithful to who he is, even though he wishes sometimes that he wasn't who he was. There is a historical setting to the reading, that the city of Jerusalem is surrounded by the enemy, the Chaldeans. And Jeremiah is telling the soldiers and all the people, surrender. The Chaldeans aren't going to destroy us. You're afraid, and the problem is if they breach the walls, then they may kill us. So the princes go to the king, probably their father or someone, and says, get rid of Jeremiah. He's disheartening the soldiers and everybody. And the king says, do with him what you want. So they take him and they throw him in a cistern, a well, where there's no water but just mud. And there he is sitting. Ebed-Malachi, a religious man, comes to the king and says, Jeremiah is going to die. We really have to take him out of there. And the king says, okay. And they go and they pull him out. That's where the story ends. And so you want to say, what happened? And I say, good. Continue reading in the chapter 38 of Jeremiah, and you'll find out the rest of the story. So, but anyway, Jeremiah is who he is, and he does what he is, and he gets in trouble for it. He has made a decision to struggle with himself about trusting God or not. That's pretty much where we all are. We want to follow Jesus, but we hold on here and we stumble here. Jeremiah was a great friend of all of us because he struggled. The gospel today fits in that a little bit, that Jesus says he's got a baptism with which he needs to be baptized, and to cast a fire. And the result of it is going to be not a peace that comes from conformity or complacency, but the peace will come because of decision. Jeremiah apparently was peaceful in the mud because he was peaceful with himself. There was a woman came to see me years ago here at the university. Her daughter was just finishing her freshman year. She had come to take the girl back home. And she said, Father, my daughter has some things in her nose that stick out. They're metal. And one in her lip, and from the metal here, she's got a chain to her ear. She said, Father, what am I going to tell her? So I said, well, tell her not to go out in a lightning storm. Well, that didn't actually comfort her. What should she tell her daughter now? What did she tell her daughter years before? That's the question. It's now, because Jesus said, I've come. Do you think I've come to give peace by conformity and complacency or severity? I have come to have people make a decision, and that decision might divide mother from daughter, mother-in-law from a whole ring of people. There's going to be division. What I hear the church saying, what I hear Jesus saying is, you make a decision about who God is for you. And live that. That actions speak louder than words. We say that. It's not what you say, but what you say by what you do. So what should the mother have said to her daughter? I don't know. I don't know what she did say all the years that led her up to coming to the university. I was just on vacation with, they would be my great nieces and nephews, and their parents, who are my nieces and nephews. And I marveled at how those children are spoken to so lovingly. And I asked the mothers, how do you do discipline? Because the kids are so loving to one another, the inter-families, and they have fun together, and they cry when they have to part. Watching what the parents say by what they do. Our actions do speak louder than words. And maybe we speak our personalities, we speak our values by what we do. And maybe what we do is contrary to what other people do, or what other siblings do. Their actions are different from mine. But I speak who I am, and I listen. This is a funny way to say it, but I listen to my actions. And from what do they come? Where do my actions come from? My words can come from philosophy, psychology, child development, all these things. But how I relate, how I treat people. For instance, how intent am I in listening to them, or am I always talking to them? Let my ears do the talking. Let my eyes do the talking. My smiles, my affirmations. Now, yes, Jesus causes division, but the peace that he says, I didn't come for a peace that is, you got to do this, and you got to do that, and let's do everything out of fearfulness. That's not peace. I didn't come to cast that. I came to cast a fire to purify people's hearts for who they are. And will they be free, like Jeremiah, to do who they were? And it might cause division, yeah. But conformity is not peace. It's anxiety. What do I do next to keep the peace? This is a hard gospel. To be baptized ourselves, Jesus had a baptism of suffering, not to be conformed to this world. And so we have to pray and reflect. What do I say by what I do? What do I say by how I listen, how I affirm, which was what Jesus calls us to? Well, this is a hard gospel about division, and we're very sorry. All our families, somewhere is division. We were talking at the family gathering I was at, how all 4 families there are all recovering from the influence of alcohol. somewhere in the family system, family root system. And all their actions come from a sense of recovery. Recovery is possible within families. Family members will be more persuaded by how I am with them than how I tell them they have to be. That's it. Everything in Jesus is invitation. Keep coming. Keep learning. Keep struggling, purified to be who you really are. It's a hard gospel. Following Jesus is not conformity. It's fidelity. It's letting his actions speak louder than his words, inviting us to speak loudly with the simplicity of our actions.